Hello, little witchlings and princelings, and welcome to your weekly Coven Summoning. My name is Ilsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we're Caffeine and Conjuring,
a fantasy bookish podcast where we will discuss some of our favorite fantasy reads.
So before we get into today's episode, I have a little bit of a different intro than normal before we get into the spoilers and everything else. Last episode, we got the services from ChatGPT to roast our Instagram page. And it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. Also pointing out some stuff that I've wanted to do and I just haven't gotten around to it. But the 24 hours that preceded finishing recording that episode, I gave our Instagram a full facelift, top to bottom. So
that's beautiful.
Thank you. It was a struggle. We got there.
Yes.
But I want to see what ChatGPT has to say now.
Ooh. Yes. Okay. Instagram. Screenshot. Conveniently, Caffeine and Conjuring was the first post on my Instagram feed.
Ew. Apologize to any of our followers on Instagram that had to deal with the influx of new posts that are repeats of old posts. But
it had to be done. Hey, bestie. Roast our Instagram. Bestie, deep inhale. You know I love you, but since you asked for a roast, I'm lighting the match like I'm Rhysand lighting up the Illyrian sky, okay? Here we go. Caffeine and Conjuring's IG. The bookish chaos cauldron we didn't know we needed, but also maybe desperately needed a theme potion. The vibes, a whole fantasy library, but it's giving multiverse collision. Are we in Valaris, District 12, or a Witcher's bathtub? You've got dragons, dystopia, royalty, and a dog, a very good boy, all chilling in the same scroll. It's like your feed went on a genre-hopping book binge and forgot to check Goodreads for consistency. Your episode drops, iconic titles, chaotic visuals. Episode 30, The Goddamn Nightgown, Chef's Kiss. But visually, babe, those magenta sparkles are fighting for their lives every week. It's giving Spells Gone Rogue. Maybe each episode card could have a slightly tweaked color or icon to match them easier or differentiate in a grid. 2 hosts, 1 vibe, or 2 different seasons of a TV show. The professional headshots are cute. Book Talk CEO meets fantasy fairy godmother, but back to back, they kind of look like they're starring in 2 spin-offs of the same show. Same genre, wildly different aesthetics. Maybe pick a filter or lighting preset and give them that. We were raised in the same magical forest energy. There's like 6 things, but number 4. That Haymitch post, though, 10 out of 10. On fire, literally. But it's kind of dropped in the middle of the grid like it's tripped and fell into a portal. Can you say content whiplash? 5. The bookish vibes are there. The strategy needs a map. It's like reading ACOTAR with no map at the front of the book. We need landmarks, girl. Imagine. Mondays, mood board Mondays, aesthetics from the books you're discussing. Wednesdays, witchy wisdom, quotes, thoughts, quote of the day. Fridays, feature Fridays, episode drops, duh. Okay, I actually really like those ideas. And then number 6, I'm obsessed. I'm confused. I'm screaming in caps lock. The content is giving, I will not be silenced by the patriarchy. And I love that for you, but some clean templates, matching thumbnails for episodes, and maybe a consistent brand color that isn't fighting for dominance like it's in Hunger Games Arena would make your grid chef's kiss perfection. The verdict, your feed is like a Sarah J. Maas plot, a little messy, unnecessarily dramatic in the best way, surprisingly hot, and full of potential for emotional trauma, and we eat it up anyway. Now, compliment it.
That didn't hurt my feelings as much as last time.
No. Okay. I'm just going to read the top 2 that it gives us, just so that is not too much. 1, your vibe is immaculate. From the cozy lighting in your book nook shots to the season 1 Throne of Glass art that looks like it walks straight out of a Netflix fantasy series pitch, you've got a distinct look. It's giving witchy, bookish, mid-chapter scream energy. And you know the exact moment when Aelin smirks and the background music swells? Yeah, that's the vibe. 2, the host energy, chef's kiss. You both look like you've just stepped out of rival match academies and decided to collab on a podcast instead of a duel. It's soft goth meets colorful chaos meets we know too much about Fae mating bonds. Your personalities jump off the screen like you're sitting across from me at a candlelit tavern table, spilling tea or perhaps blood magic secrets. The verdict. Your Instagram is the Valaris of bookish podcast feeds, vibrant, dramatic, a little chaotic in the best way, and full of beauty and bite. Keep summoning the stories, bestie. The bookish realm is watching and double tapping.
Love that.
Yep. Ugh. That wasn't too bad. I think that one was more palpable than
Yeah, I am
night.
perfectly okay with the new episode things being the same. It is a nice, pretty scroll down our page, and it'll change.
It
for
really
season
is.
2.
Yes.
In
no,
like
I
a
love
year.
It. I do like. I really like how when you're scrolling through our Instagram now, it's just you've got that line of consistency with the new episodes, but then like we're not limited to what is posted in the other 2 posts. Like it could be anything bookish, and I love that.
Yeah, I love the idea that
The fan
it gave
art.
that you like too, where it's like the Mondays are this, Tuesdays are this, but if we keep with like our sequence, we're very limited on how many things we can post.
Yes. Yes, that's true too. Yeah.
And we've been filming some more personal content that will be posted on Instagram and TikTok as well. So that's going to be a consistent new thing. Showing our faces a little more. Forcing ourselves to leave our rat-like situations and look like regular human beings for a little bit.
That's very difficult for me.
Well, now that we've been not as badly roasted, I'm happy with that roast.
Yes.
That was much nicer than last time. Let's get into today's episode, but before we do, make sure that you've read up to chapter 69 of Queen of Shadows in the Throne of Glass series, so nothing gets spoiled for you. We ended off the last episode with Aelin, Chaol, Aedion, Rowan all being chased by Manon and the 13. And the scene ends with Rowan getting shot in the shoulder by an arrow.
Holy shit.
So what a cliffhanger. And this episode's also going to end on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not happy about that. But I don't think, like, so far in the, 4 books?
Yeah.
That we've read, we haven't really been ending on cliffhangers.
Not at all.
No, which I feel is, as I was reading ACOTAR and Crescent City, I felt like every chapter was ending on cliffhangers. Like it just kept you going. So like, but there are a lot of cliffhanger chapters in Throne of Glass too. But how are we avoiding it?
It's just worked out perfectly. But like going forward, there's gonna be so little chapters that aren't cliffhangers. It's gonna be hard to avoid.
Yeah. And our notes, and thus our episodes, I feel like are going to get longer and longer.
Yeah. A lot more action-packed.
Yeah, there's been a lot more happening in those 10 chapters, and yeah, you'll notice it with the length of the episodes.
Yeah.
I think.
So, hopping into chapter 60. So, we're opening, it's chaos. Rowan is hit with the arrow through the shoulder, and Aelin's heart and ours stops. Like, we are one heartbeat away from full emotional destruction.
That's coming. I know.
Rowan, in classic Fae male fashion, just tells her to run. He literally takes an arrow for her, which was meant for her heart. And if your inner romantic didn't scream, I don't know what to tell you. You are heartless. Because that
Cold.
whole scene, I was just like, oh my god.
My heart was like up in my throat.
Yeah. They're sprinting across temple stones. Aelin is Legolasing from the tree line, and the witches are on their heels.
Pew pew.
Now, was he Legolasing like the Lord of the Rings, or Legolasing like the Hobbit? Because they were very different.
Eye roll.
Oh, the Hobbit was horrible for that.
Listen, he was not in that movies. It just didn't exist.
But why did he exist in the, like, oh fuck, this is gonna put me off on another tangent, but why was he in the fucking movies? He wasn't in the Hobbit book at all. The money grab. Like, disgusted that he, like, love Orlando Bloom as Legolas. Legolas was my childhood crush, one of my awakenings into white, light-haired men with pointy ears. My teenage room was covered in Legolas posters. However, I was still disgusted that he was in The Hobbit, because I was such a sucker for The Hobbit the book, and the movie franchise ruined it.
Yeah, it wasn't it.
It didn't need to be 3 books or 3 movies. It was the shortest book. You didn't need to bring in Legolas. That was fucking stupid. And then you make him so unbelievably stupid in the movies. Like, yes, it's fantasy, but have, like, a little bit of realism. Like, just a little bit.
Just a little sprinkle, please.
Like, just some basic parkour would have been great. Not whatever the fuck was going on the screen. The climb up the mountain was a disaster.
Oh god, we have her triggered.
Yeah, I gotta reel it back to Rowan.
I think I have a vote that we eventually do the Lord of the Rings series.
Absolutely. But can we roast the movies? Or at least the Hobbit movies. I don't really have that much to roast about. Oh, okay, I do have a little bit to roast about the other ones, but
Lord of the Rings to me was just like perfection, so.
Yeah, there's nostalgia there. The nostalgia overrides any ill feelings I have towards them.
Yeah.
But 100% would love to do Lord of the Rings.
Well, you heard it here first.
And we'll talk about that again in like 3 years' time.
Yes.
We have a packed schedule.
We do.
So yeah, back to Rowan. Actually, back to Manon. So, with the witches on their heels, Manon enters the scene like a gothic hurricane in leather and iron, the queen that she is. She's not just out for blood, she wants retribution. And of course, she's all iron fangs and those terrifying iron nails that could slice through a mountain. My kind of girl with the claws.
I have to ask because there have been a couple times now when their nails are brought up, and I keep getting flashbacks to spoiler for Silver Flames. If you haven't read it, mute for like 40 seconds. When Nesta is like falling down stairs and her nails, what the fuck is this like?
Oh, I already have theories. I've already been down that rabbit hole.
Okay, so we can entertain this when we get to those books. Okay.
I like the theory that all 3 are witches, but again, that'll be a conversation for our Akhtar season.
Okay. Okay.
So, back to Manon and Aelin. Aelin is not backing down. Oh no. Fireheart is all in her bloodthirsty queen era. She whirls around and cuts the chains of the bridge, collapsing it and stopping the witches from following. What's that? Oh, just Aelin dropping structural engineering like it's a casual Tuesday.
Nothing to it.
But Manon makes it across. Cue the epic boss battle. Aelin versus Manon. Blades clash, stone pillars crumble, blood is spilled, and it's all happening on this ancient, crumbling temple island. This duel is like watching two apex predators in a dance of death. Every move is brutal, tactical, and soaked in personality. Aelin is all elegance and rage, and Manon is pure steel and storm. It's not just physical, it's emotional. These are two women who've suffered, sacrificed, and now find themselves toe to toe. They trade blows, insults, blood, and some sass.
Of course.
Honestly, the verbal barbs are just as sharp as the blades. And just when it seems like Manon might have the upper hand, a collapsing pillar traps her beneath the temple's roof. The temple itself starts falling apart, and here comes the emotional plot twist of the century. Aelin goes back for her. Yes, our fiery queen, mortal enemy of all things witchy, runs back into the chaos to save Manon. That's my girl!
So when she, I just want to talk about that a little bit. When she goes back for Manon, she does say it's because she feels like that same tug towards Manon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same tug that she felt, was it, who was it in Assassin's Blade? Irene or Irene, whatever her name is?
Irene,
How do you
yeah.
pronounce it? Irene? Was that the same sort of tug that she felt for her? Oh,
I don't know.
This is something.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay. 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 I'll keep an eye on these tugs.
They leap across a collapsing bridge like action movie heroines. Aelin literally dragging Manon to safety with that classic, "If I die because of you, I'll beat the shit out of you in hell" line. Iconic.
Yes.
And then we end this chapter with Manon realizing that she now owes her biggest enemy a life debt. This is chef's kiss levels of juicy tension for future scenes.
Chapter 61. Rowan's bleeding out, barely conscious, with an arrow wound that almost took him to the big Fae battleground in the sky. But thank God Aelin chewed up some shit and stuck it in the wound. The group, Aelin, Kale, Aelin, Lysandra, and Nesrin, are dragging themselves through Oakwald Forest, and it's less of a triumphant return from war and more of a zombie crawl of emotionally compromised trauma survivors.
Pretty much.
It wasn't very triumphant, but yeah.
That sounds like my walk to work every morning.
Yeah. Oh, Rowan can't even stand on his own, and Aelin is internally combusting with guilt. Lysandra is pushing past her limits, and Kale is helping carry a man who should have been his enemy but nearly died, saving the queen he once loved, so I guess it evens out. And did we mention the only halfway capable healer in Reach is a midwife at a country house owned by Nesrin's family? Yeah. We've gone from throne room drama to Little House on the Rifthold Prairie.
But that little house has the most precious reunion.
Fleetfoot.
Fleetfoot!
Girl.
He's back! The little baby's back.
And she just barrels into the scene like a fluffy ray of sunshine. And for one perfect moment, Aelin smiles. She is so happy to see her girl. I know, I messaged you when I got to this point when Fleetfoot was here, but the way that like Aelin talks to Fleetfoot and the way that like Fleetfoot like understands,
Yeah.
I got this thought in my head, like, what if Fleetfoot is like a fae stuck in like their animal form? But then I remembered that Fleetfoot was literally a puppy.
Yeah.
So Fleetfoot's not 10 years. But either way, it made for a very funny like visual.
We'll be
of,
petting the phase later on, don't worry.
ooh. Ooh. Okay. But yeah. So like the scene, it hurt.
It did.
Because it reminded us of the girl that Aelin used to be before kingdoms and blood oaths and vowed princes. It was just such a sweet scene of just coming back to each other. In that moment, that's your emotional support dog doing more healing in one lick than half the kingdom. But once inside the farmhouse, Marta, the midwife, takes one look at Rowan's state and shifts into healer mode. She saves Rowan's life, period. Meanwhile, Aelin is sitting by his bedside like an avenging angel, still covered in witch's blood, her tunic sliced open, looking like she just stepped out of a battle scene in Gladiator. Chaol is doing what men in emotional crises do, carrying bowls of bloodied water and not knowing where to put his hands. It's giving helpful golden retriever energy, and honestly, I think we needed that because he definitely has some making up to do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of making up to do. But Marta, unbothered by the air of royalty in the room, demands Aelin to go wash up, and Aelin reluctantly goes, but not before making sure Adian's got eyes on Rowan like a hawk.
Punny, very punny.
And this is where the chapter truly punches you in the soul, because out under the stars, as Aelin scrubs Rowan's blood from her skin and the witch blood from her skin and her own blood from her skin, Chaol comes out to apologize again and again and again. But this isn't the Chaol we saw in Crown of Midnight, the proud, conflicted, idealistic captain of the guard. This man is absolutely wrecked. He's realizing too late what love really meant. And Aelin, she doesn't rage, she doesn't cry, she just simply says, I saved my enemy's life today. They tried to shoot my Rowan through the heart, and I saved her anyway. Yes, that pause is where we all died just a little.
Yep.
And then another chilling line from Aelin. Would you truly have killed him if you'd had the chance? And this part, she's talking about, like, Chaol going to kill Dorian. Yeah. And Chaol says yes. And Aelin replies, then we'll do it together. Oh. Team up pact unlocked. Not in a good way. I mean, we don't want them to kill Dorian, obviously. But by dawn, Rowan's upright, barely, and the group slips away under the cover of mist. There are no grand goodbyes, no triumphant music, just aching joints, unfinished business, and a queen who has no room left for mercy. But she does say goodbye to Fleetfoot, and somehow that single quiet farewell is the softest dagger of all.
So, chapter 62, we're back in Manon's POV, and she slams Abraxos down in front of the king of Ardalin's party, like the bad-tempered war goddess she is. No polite nods, no, good day, my lord. Just full-on, I'm halfway to Hela's realm, and you should be very fucking concerned.
Oh, I just love her.
And who else is there? Our little princeling, whose very presence seems to rattle her. And myself. Why?
Well,
Because he flinches. Because he reminds her of that screaming, hollowed-out creature back at Morath. Because Manon sees something human in him. She has a report for the king. Rebels. Dead rebels. I slaughtered them all, she says, like someone casually mentioning the weather. She's furious, but not about the rebel, about being used as a delivery witch for prisoners. She's a general, not a glorified courier pigeon, and she will not be treated like one.
No, sir.
And then Manon does something wild. She calls out Dorian, straight up says his name, forces him to meet her eyes, and what does she see? Just a man trapped inside.
If that doesn't scream foreshadowing soulmate or moral dilemma, I don't know what does. Ah!
There's only so much I can hide. Before flying off, Manon drops a nuclear-grade question about the mirror weapons her grandmother crafted and whether the king intends to use shadow fire with them. And y'all, the king doesn't even deny it.
This is our first mention of what was in that wagon, right? Because the last that we seen was just her going into the wagon.
Yeah, that was a secret.
Right. Mirrors. Fuck. Okay.
Instead, the king gets tight-lipped and annoyed, which in villain speak means she hit the truth dead center. The weapon isn't for victory, it's for genocide. With mirrors that can amplify magic into continent-raising death ray, the king's plans are starting to look less military conquest and more Voldemort meets Death Star. We're such fucking nerds.
We are a fantasy podcast. Of course we're nerds.
Manon realizes that this war is not what she thought it was. It's not about battle. It's not about glory. It's about annihilation, and that rattles her. Cue her immediate takeoff, because when a witch who can rip out your throat without blinking looks freaked out, you should be terrified. And then cut to our girl, Aelin Locken, who has been playing the world's most dangerous game of hide-and-seek in Morath while waiting for a supply wagon. It's late, she's desperate, and the second she thinks she's got a moment to collect her secret stash, bam! Burning!
You're gonna scare the shit out of yourself while editing this.
Yep. That's right, Uncle Creepy Von Gaslight himself is waiting in Manon's room like a spider on a web, on her bed, smirking. Ugh.
Ugh.
Cue our collective, nope, 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 nope.
Nope, nope, nope.
The chapter cuts off right there, and we're left white-knuckling our books like it's the peak of a horror film. The tension off the charts.
Chapter 63. Thank God it didn't end right there. Because we're right back to Aelin, our sweet, clever, utterly resilient survivor, is caught. Vernon, her snake in a human suit uncle, is sitting in Manon's room like a horror movie jump scare. He sees through her plan, mocks her black beak blood, cuts her to see if she bleeds red, the audacity, and then drags her off to the dungeon. And the scene is harrowing. She doesn't scream because who would even hear her in a place full of monsters? No one is coming for her. Or so she thinks. Manon returns to Morath looking like she's done a guest spot on Witch's Survivor. She's dirty, bloodied, and done. And Duke Parrington and Caltaine await, and he has paperwork, literal paperwork for her. Reports, secrets, bombshells. Aelin is alive, check. Magic and Wendelin, check. All the details on Adian, Ren, Kale, check. Manon is getting the backlog of all of the what they know so far. It's not good. But Manon is reading between every single line. She realizes the king and the duke have no idea just how close their enemies came to toppling everything. And even worse, they're planning on turning witches into weapons, mass-produced, obedient, magic-enhanced monsters. And her response? You have yet to explain the necessity of the weapon my grandmother is building. Because Manon knows. This isn't about power, this isn't about control, and she's not on board with it. Then comes the scene that breaks us. Oh, this, I died. Like, I was weeping at this part. Astrid, Manon's fierce, wild, ride or die, former second, says 4 words that will change everything. We need to talk. And they fly into the mountains, away from the rotten shadows of Morath, to a sunlit plateau with wildflowers swaying like memory incarnate. And there, Astrid undoes 80 years of silence. She tells her story of love, of a human man who saved her, of staying with him, falling for him, and even carrying his child, of dreaming of a peaceful life, of making a plan to escape the violence. And then the stillbirth. The silence, the matron's cruelty, a beating, a branding, and exile into the snow. And she was actually the quote from the book, branded on clean with the same iron used to burn her witchling's body. Right across her stomach was burned into her skin on clean, and that just, oh. And if you weren't sobbing before, you probably are by now. Astrid has carried this alone for decades. Her wildness, her recklessness, her legendary temper, it's all been a shield forged in fire and grief. But still, she chose to stay, to serve Manon. Not the matron, not the cause, Manon. And now she's begging her to stop the horror, to save what's left of their kind, to be the queen she's always had the potential to become. And Manon, for once, is speechless. This chapter absolutely strips her bare. Emotionally, morally, spiritually, everything she's believed in, her legacy, her grandmother's iron reign, the idea that obedience is strength, shakes to the core. And Astrid's plea awakens something deep in her. You're to be reinstated as second. Yes. A quiet line, but a massive shift. And then just like that, Manon starts to plan. Something very stupid. Something that smells suspiciously like rebellion. Because for the first time, she's not just following orders, she's choosing hope. Oof.
So, chapter 64, we open on Rowan, newly patched up, finally getting horizontal and unconscious. 2 things the Fae warrior desperately needed. When he wakes up, it's a blur of pain, headache, and Aelin Adian chatting logistics like they're planning brunch instead of a revolution timed for solstice. Rowan's response: tell me tomorrow. That's a mood, honestly.
Yes.
But it's not all battle strategy. We get one of the softest Aelin moments to date. She's got her head on his arm, eyes full of unshed tears, whispering, please don't ever do that again. And his reply, snarky, grumpy, soft as velvet. Next time, I'll ask them not to fire arrows at you or me. Arse. But also, like, oh, so sweet. Someone put this scene in a glass case and just keep it forever. And it gets even better. When Rowan asks why Aelin saved Manon, she hits us with the emotional sucker punch.
Oh.
Because that golden-haired witch, Astrid, she screamed Manon's name the way I screamed yours. Cue the tears, 'cause that broke
Mhm.
me.
Yep.
That's it. That's the tweet. That's the soul of this series. Recognizing love, loyalty, grief, even in your enemies.
Mhm.
Except the king, 'cause fuck the king.
Yeah, no.
Actually, except Maeve, 'cause fuck Maeve.
Yes.
I pick the king over Maeve any day.
I forgot about Maeve. We're not getting a lot of her
She's lurking.
in these, like, it sounded a lot like Lorcan.
She's lurking with Lorcan.
Oh, God. Another tongue twister.
Yeah, I didn't even say it right because I fucked up Lorcan. She's lurking with Lorcan. There we go.
Sounds dirty.
Can't go there. Can't go there. So the scene shifts to the kitchen where Lysandra and her pint-sized chaos princess Evangeline are doing what all battle-worn heroines deserve, eating carbs and slinging sass.
Yep.
Lysandra roasts Aelin to hell and back for looking like absolute shit. Evangeline dishes it right back. It's warm, it's wholesome, it's a found family brunch episode. And then Aelin casually drops a bomb in Lysandra's lap. Freedom. Literal freedom. From Clarice. In writing, with a seal. And again, my heart.
Yeah, like, I was literally just after, like, calming down from the Astron
Yeah.
story.
And then this hits
And then
you.
I'm hit with this.
And like us,
Oh.
Lysandra sobs. Aelin makes a joke about how she cries ugly, and the moment is everything. Funny, devastating, liberating. Because this isn't just about paperwork. It's about dignity. It's about choosing their future, and in a world that's tried to control every piece of Lysandra's life, Aelin hands her the one thing she never expected. Choice. And then we do a big jump again, and we switch back to Manon and Astron. Fresh from a soul-bearing mountaintop confessional, Manon wakes up with a mission pounding in her gut. There's a thread pulling at her soul, something unfinished. And the moment she tells Astron, that golden-haired, iron-hearted second just smiles and says, "I'm coming with you." And without fully knowing why, they fly hard, fast, and north to Rifthold.
Again, another instance of Manon feeling a tug to
Yep.
Rifthold.
Meanwhile, we have little Aelin, our littlest witchling. 4 days in a freezing dungeon, 4 days with no rescue, no word, and no hope. She's running on fumes and fear. She's doing what she can, observing, testing, surviving, but the cold isn't just in her bones anymore, it's in her soul. And the line that gut punches you, at least it did for me, she wondered if anyone would even remember her name when she was dead. Oh, sweet baby Aelin. My sweet, sweet little survivalist. You will get through this. Now you just need a 7-foot fey male to come in and save the day.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Taking volunteers.
Speaking of 7-foot Fey warriors. Chapter 65, if there were a moody, brewed-off Olympics, Rowan and Lorcan just took the gold. Rowan wakes up to that classic something smells like testosterone and trauma vibe in the air, and surprise, is Lorcan.
Can we,
creeping around.
send him away somewhere? Send Lorcan to go get a lead. There we go! There's a Fey man for her. We'll send Lorcan to a lead. He can handle her
But
dumb
what did
foot.
he do? So he's like lurking on the roof like a villain with feelings he doesn't want to talk about. But the conversation, it's icy daggers wrapped in ancient grudges. And we're talking about the fake amulet trade-off for the immunity ring, Lorcan's obsession with being the only one qualified to save the world, and mentions of Lyria, Maeve, and betrayal so thick it should be spooned into a bowl and served cold. In true Rowan fashion, he ends it by handing over a decoy amulet, which we're told Lysandra's duelist made.
Can I hire her?
Right?
Like, make me the one ring to rule them all, please. Wow, the Lord of the Rings references tonight.
Oh.
It's normally Game of Thrones. We're switching it up today.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he trades the amulet for the immunity ring, which we are really hoping works. When he gets back to Aelin, like, we realize then that she was in on it. At the start of the chapter, it kind of felt like Rowan was sneaking off, that Aelin didn't know that he was doing this, but it does. Because he says, how mad is Lorcan going to be when he realizes we gave him a fake? Oh. And then next up, we get some more real talk between Aelin and Chaol. And readers, this is the closure you didn't know you needed. They talk about Nehemia, freedom, betrayals, and the unbearable weight of what could have been. But instead of anger, it's acceptance. It's growth. It's bittersweet goodbye to who they used to be and a shaky step toward who they could be. Then the line. Then it is not the end. If your heart didn't crack just a little in this whole scene, I don't believe you have one.
Yep.
Oh, and did somebody order a side of sparkle-eyed longing? Because Aelin tells Chaol he deserves happiness, then gives him the ultimate green flag moment to pursue Nesrin. She's like, there's a good woman right in front of you.
Don't fuck it up.
Yep. And Chaol actually takes it. It switches to his point of view, and he's standing there by Nesrin, and he reaches out and takes her hand. And under the starlit hush of a sea god's temple, whispering a promise, he says, or she says, promise me you'll walk out of that castle tomorrow. He says, I promise. BRB, I'm crying. Then we switch back to Rowan. He's in bed. He's testing his shoulder. He's thinking about the hellfire, their plans for tomorrow. But Aelin is quiet in her closet. A little too quiet. And then she appears. She appears with a gold nightgown, which is practically painted on her. She's a literal goddess. He describes her as a living flame. And if you think back to when they were like, I don't know, like first in the bed together, he does mention about how like gold, like that is his thing. Like he really wants to see her wear gold. And what follows is one of the most beautifully intimate, aching, goosebump-inducing pre-battle scenes in the entire series so far. Aelin says, tell me we'll get through tomorrow, that we'll survive the war. And Rowan says, wherever we go, we'll go together. And then finally, the kiss. The real kiss. The one they've both been spiraling around for hundreds of pages, all heat and heartbreak, and just once and again.
The slowest of slow burns.
God. But the crown jewel of the chapter is when Aelin says, you make me want to live, Rowan. Not survive, not exist. Live. You guys, that one sentence is a battle cry wrapped in a love letter. I feel like this chapter is like the calm before the storm.
Well,
like,
yeah,
I feel like everything is just
we're knocking down towers tomorrow. We're going after the king. Shit's
Let's
going
go.
to hit the fan.
I'm ready.
Going
I'm
to get
so
wild
ready for
up
the
in
king to just
Rithold.
fucking...
Chapter 66. Our girl Aelin tries to do something simple. Grab a few pastries and meat pies in the early morning sunshine. She's cloaked, hooded, and full of impending doom thoughts. She's obviously anxious about what's to come. We learn that Lysandra and Evangeline have had their stamps removed and should now be heading off to Nesrin's family farm. While buying some pies, Aelin's casually alerted by a vendor, bless his sweet pie-selling heart, that there is a weird message on the wall in the nearby alley. Crowds buzzing, it's written in something like blood but darker. Wonder what it could be. She tears through the city like a one-woman hurricane until she reaches Kale's house and she sees the message on the wall. Payment for a life debt. One sentence that changes everything. Witch killer. The human is still inside him.
What? Oh.
This chapter is like lighting a fuse on the entire Queen of Shadow endgame. It's the moment where everything flips. Dorian might be savable. Aelin's mission just shifted from kill to rescue. The witches are fucking playing 3D chess in a game the king doesn't even know they joined. And you can bet your sweet little ass that our girl Aelin is going to change her entire plan to protect the boy who once gave her a sword and believed in her long before she believed in herself.
Oh.
I want my baby back. I want him back.
Chapter 67. Forget fancy war rooms or shining halls of strategy. This chapter drops us knee-deep into the sewers once again.
Yummy.
Yep. That's where the future of kingdoms is literally resting beside 2 vats of hellfire. And no, not a metaphor, actual world ending. Make one wrong move and you're a soot mark hellfire. Nobody speaks, nobody breathes, because how do you say goodbye when the stakes are this high? The silence is loud with what's not said. Fear, love, regret, and so much freaking hope it hurts. Rowan, steady as a heartbeat, shakes Kale's hand, but when he turns to Aelin, she can't meet his eyes. She focuses on a torn corner of his cloak. Like if she stares at it hard enough, maybe time will pause or reverse. She breathes him in, and not in like the swoony YA heroine, but like someone memorizing a moment. Like, this whole scene was just so palpable. His hands linger, her heart probably breaks a little, and we're crying again. Then Aedion and Aelin. Yep, that's it. The ultimate Terrasen power cousin moment. For Terrasen.
For our family.
For Marion. For us. Oh! Yes! And then when he says, 10 years of shadows, but no longer, light up the darkness, Majesty. Ah! Sorry.
Light up. Light it up. Light up. Light it up.
Ah! Okay. Anyways. Compose. And when Aedion kneels, holding the sword of Orinth is not just a gesture of loyalty, it's the passing of a kingdom's heartbeat. Aelin lifts a blade, and with it, every burden and dream that's haunted her. She looks at them, at the 3 males who meant everything, more than everything. Oh!
This next line that you have highlighted coming up, I can't.
I know!
Ugh!
This is one woman carrying the weight of found family, 3 warriors who have stood at her side through blood and ruin and still chose to walk into fire with her, literally. And then, let's go rattle the stars! scene. Oh, I love. Oh, like
the giddy feet kicking, like obnoxious sounds I was making reading this. It hits so hard every time.
Yep. And like that started way back in Throne of Glass, and here it is again. And it's not a metaphor, not a wish, but a command. Aelin Galathinius, Fireheart, heir of Ash and Fire, Queen of Terrasen, is about to burn a tyrant's world to the fucking ground.
About damn time.
This is the moment everything has built toward. There's no more training, no more scheming. It's go time. And Aelin does not flinch. She smiles.
Ooh. Chapter 68, Lysandra's role in this chapter is quiet, but oh so powerful. She is not wielding a sword, she's playing her part by simply not being there. She and Evangeline are in a carriage trying to flee the city and the chaos about to erupt. She begins to pray to Malafalbringer and Themis because Lysandra may have clawed her way to freedom, but now she's watching the people who helped set her free walk into war. We love a shape-shifting courtesan with emotional depth, alright? We love her.
We do.
Then we switch to Aedian's POV, and he is with Rowan. These two are literally walking through the bowels of the earth carrying magical death bombs and bickering like siblings, and I am here for it. The sewers are dark, the fumes are deadly, much like my Rottweiler's farts. And the hellfire could wipe out a city block if they do as so much as sneeze wrong. Also like my Rottweiler's farts.
Yep.
Classic Fae banter in the middle of a mission that could turn them both into fine ash. But beneath the sarcasm and insult is a rock-solid respect. Rowan gives annoying, overly cautious advice, not because he doubts Aedian, but because he cares. And my heart again. Rowan's such a softie.
Yeah.
So Kael and Aelin are walking towards the castle, one of them in chains, the other cloaked and armed. And then they reach the iron fence. There were corpses hanging from the towering wrought iron bars. The scene. 16 of Kael's men, his friends, his loyal guards, all executed, tortured, and displayed. This is where the chapter goes from tense to devastating. You can feel the grief choke Kael and Aelin. Aelin sees it. She doesn't try to fix it. She feels it with him. The plan, he said, his voice shaking, we change it now. And here's the thing. He doesn't shut down. He doesn't rage. He recalibrates. Because that's who Kael is. Loyal, strategic, and painfully human. Emphasis on painfully human. This moment is him choosing action over despair, choosing to make his friend's death mean something. When they break from the crowd and face the guards, the transformation happens. Not physically, but presence. The assassin is back.
Oh, the way that she just changes persona is
chef's
incredible.
Kiss. Her walk became a swagger, and she moved with fluid ease towards the guards who drew their swords. She is no longer cloaked in fear or grief. She's weaponized it. The Queen of Terrasen steps aside, and Selena freaking Sardathian enters the scene. Deadly, daring, and damn near poetic. Tell His Majesty that his champion has returned, and she brought him one hell of a prize. Ah, the goosebumps, the giddy, the feet kicking,
The nerves.
This is the moment that cements why Aelin is more than a queen, more than an assassin. She is both. She is fire and ice, vengeance and justice, sacrifice and survival, and a badass fire-breathing bitch. Fire-wielding bitch. Fire-wielding bitch.
Yes.
Our last chapter.
How are we at the last chapter already? Chapter 69.
Nice.
Nice. Chef's kiss. This is theater. This is war with eyeliner and a dagger tucked up your sleeve. She's playing every part. Spy, queen, assassin, savior. All while walking into the literal pit of hell. Cale is in chains. The devastation he felt seeing his men hanging on the gates still simmers beneath the surface, but he plays his part. He's snarling and struggling just enough to sell the act, and his eyes are locked on Dorian. And then we switch to Dorian's POV.
Oh,
Dorian. Oh. He's there. He's standing like a statue beside the throne. But he does say their faces. They were faces that tugged at him. He has this like little bit of
a lot of tugging.
Like I recognize. There's a lot of tugging for there not being hand jobs. I feel like every chapter has some sort of tug. Anyways, so there is some part of him that is remembering their faces, but the demon shrieks and spits, and Dorian knows her, but not by name, not by logic, but in some ancient gut-deep way, his soul whispers Aelin. Cue the full body chills. This is the moment where the hope sparks. It's not over. Dorian is not gone.
Thank God. Bring my baby back. We need
all I can think of when you say that.
We need Minorian.
Minorian. Is that like the actual Minorian? It sounds like
that's what I call it. Mandalorian.
This sounds a lot like Mandalorian, yeah. Anyways. So we switch back to Aelin's POV, and she is face to face with King Dipshit. Seriously, this guy. Oh. And he's just lounging on his glass throne like a smug, soul-sucking lizard. He questions and he taunts because he has no idea the world is about to literally explode underneath him. Aelin feeds him lines with such ease it's terrifying. He questions her about like why it took so long. Like,
you were sent on this mission like months and months and months
ages ago. I have not heard that the whoever were killed, blah blah blah. And she's just like I can't help it that your messengers suck. But she says, I killed them when I could. Apologies for not making it the grand statement you wanted. Next time, perhaps. You can practically hear the sarcasm through her teeth. And the best part? She hands him the royal rings of Wendelin, like a dark little gift. But of course we know they are replicas, again, made by Lysandra's jewelist. Like, how are the... Everything has a replica.
Like, fuck, make me the heart of the ocean, please.
Jeez. But every line in this chapter just drips with tension, dread, and that uniquely Aelin blend of bravery and sass, which we all love so much. She's playing a game of chess where every piece on the board is booby-trapped, and she's bluffing her way through it all. But the real gut punch in this chapter is that last fucking line. Who has been conspiring more? The captain or you, champion? Or should I call you Aelin? Oh, fuck. The king has finally pulled the thread. He knows she's Aelin. That was literally the last line of this chapter, and I died. I died. Because I thought that, like, we had this in the fucking bag. Like Like, I did not expect the king to know. I mean, now looking back at it, of course he must know. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. I'm so afraid.
So yeah, I think that's it for this week's episode. Things
Think
are wild. And next episode is going to be so good. So good. I just had to check and see where the next episode leaves us, and it's a perfect end to the episode. I can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait. We'll see you guys next week.
We'll have some tidbits in video form for y'all.
Yes, we will.
Bye.
Bye.
And with that, our Coven summoning comes to a close. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date on our journey through Throne of Glass.
Hear the call. Adventure